خل القرآن يسدده خلق القرآن ويرشده يسعى في العلم ويؤثره ويثابر فيه ويسنده أولى حق لا يغفله حق المولى فيوحده ينقاد لشرعة خالقه ليس الشهوات تقيده إن سمع أو رأى كثر أضحى لله تعبده لا يتبع مهيع مبتدع يقف الهادي ويقلده والقلب سليم من مرض يحوي القرآن يمجده يتلو ما يتلو من ذكر يتدبره ويردده.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Baba Salam and I welcome you to the final episode among the special episodes, the Arabic alphabet, as part of the Juz Amma practical Tajwid series, which will continue after the Arabic alphabets, brought to you by TVQ.Academy, your Borderless School of the Qur'an. So far, in the Arabic alphabet series, we have together gone through Part 1, the recognition of the Arabic letters in the Arabic alphabet, and that was followed by Part 2, the status and sounds of the Arabic letter. Part 3 was divided into two, connecting letters 1 and connecting letters 2. Part 4 was the highlight of the extension letters in the Arabic alphabet, and today we will be having the application, meaning we will be applying everything, we will be bringing everything from the recognition all the way to the extension letters in one episode, and then move on to resume with the Juz Amma practical Tajwid series.
والقلب سليم من مرض يحوي القرآن يمجده يتلو ما يتلو من ذكر يتدبره ويردده.
Now we are here at the part 5, the final part of the Arabic alphabet, which is the practical application that will accommodate and consist of everything we have taken so far. What I would like to suggest is, if you have not been following with us from the beginning until this particular point, then I will suggest that you do not, you may skip this episode and go back to the previous part or the previous episode, which will be the extension letters, that is part 4. And if you haven't followed until part 4, then you will need to make sure that you have made some time to go through these two episodes of connecting letters 1 and 2 that will cover part 3. And if you have not done so, then you may need to go back to the status and sounds of the Arabic letter in the Arabic alphabet. And for some, they may need to go back to learn how to recognize the Arabic letter or the Arabic letters in the Arabic alphabet system. To save you the time and to make your time productive, the suggestion is that if you have not been following from the beginning until where we are today, then it's better to start from a level lower, or maybe start all the way from the first episode of this special episode, the Arabic alphabets, so that inshallah you will make good use of the time. Moving forward, there are a few things I would like to highlight, which starts with the fact that if you have gone through the previous episode, which is part 4, it will mean you have mastered 50% of what we will be covering in this episode. And if you master what we are going to cover in today's episode, I can comfortably claim that you will master 60 to 70% of Juz Amma, hands down. And either way, you will need a teacher to verify your articulation, your pronunciation, your reading of Juz Amma, let alone any other part of the Qur'an. I would like to also highlight that everything in these slides or in this episode we will be practicing or be applying will be available in the learning materials as part of the Juz Amma Practical Tajweed series or as part of the Arabic alphabet series, which you will find the link to it in the description below in this video, inshaAllah ta'ala.
وإذا الخيرات له سنحت قنص الخيرات تصيده يتواضع لله الأعلى في كل مآل يحمده.
Moving forward, let's take a look at the table we see on the screen. If we look at the big table, we find that this will cover examples of application of letters that are basically under Hamza. So Hamza in a status of Fatha, Kasra or Dhamma, or Hamza when it produces the sound of Fatha, the sound of Kasra or probably the sound of Dhamma. Also Hamza when it comes with double sound. Also Hamza when it comes with silent sound. Also Hamza when it comes with extended letter or when its sound is extended. And Hamza when it is emphasized. And the same thing will be applicable to all the other letters in the Arabic alphabet. If you have gone through with us in the previous episode, part 4, you will know by now that this box, the one below my window, has been explained thoroughly. However, we will highlight it as and when there is a need for it, inshallah, in this episode. So to start, we will say Alhaakumut takathur. Right? So anytime an example pops up, I will read it once and give you some time to repeat after me. The examples of the previous episodes were words, single words, and each word was repeated twice. The first attempt was how it will be read in continuous state, and the second attempt was how it will be read when one is intending to stop. And for instance, we will say for alhaakum, for this letter word, we will say alhaakumu, alhaakum. And then for the second word, we will say at-takathuru, at-takathur. But today here we are saying alhaakumut takathur. One time, and it has covered both attempts of the previous episode. Alhaakumut takathur. So the alhaakumu here has demonstrated and reflected and represented how the word is read when it is linked, and at-takathur has also represented, reflected how we stop on this particular word and its similar words. So moving on, we have Wallahu ala kulli shay'in shaheed. In the previous episode, we did explain that when we have extension letter like shaheed, extension letter followed by any letter which we want to stop on, when we give that letter a silent status, then we have the option of extending this extension letter we have 3 options of extending it. So the first option is to extend it for 2 points, and 2 points we said it is estimated to be a second. And the second option is to extend it for 4 points, and 4 points is estimated to be 2 seconds. And we have the third option which is to extend it for 6 points, and 6 points is estimated to be 3 seconds. Now, because it is optional, for the purpose of this episode, we will be adopting the first option, which is to extend every extension letter on which we want to stop on the letter that comes after it. We will apply the option of extending it for only 2 points. Therefore, here we say shaheed, shaheed. We don't say shaheed, which you can, or if you are reading alone or your teacher requires that you do that. Also, the other option is shaheed, which we are not applying today, but you can apply it on your own when you are reading, or when your teacher requires you to do that, you can do that definitely. So I repeat this. Wallahu ala kulli shay'in shaheed. All right. Moving on, we have فَتَأْتُونَ أَفْوَاجًا. In the previous episode, we explained that when we have a double sound of fatha, usually, most of the time, you will see an alif that comes after it like this. With exception if this letter on which there are double sound happens to be Hamza. Other than that, any other letter, it will have an alif like this. So when you intend to stop on it, you will have to extend it for 2 points. So say afwaja instead of afwajan. But if you link, then definitely you will have to apply the double sound afwajan fasabbih. All right? So we have over here fatatuna afwaja. All right? Next we have utul kitab. In the previous episode, we explained that the 3 extension letters, which is alif that comes after an active letter with fatha, or ya that comes after a letter with an active sound of kasra, or waw that comes after an active letter with the sound, or after a letter with the active sound of dhamma. So over here we have u2. And then we have over here al-kitab. Now, what is this alif doing here? We explained that this kind of alif or any other extension letter you will come across which will have this little or small circle on top of it, it means tajweed wise, reading wise, you don't have to activate it, you don't have to read it, you just have to ignore it. Does it have significance? Grammatically, it has significance. So over here we say utul kitab. All right. And for Hamza, Hamza cannot be emphasized in Arabic letter. Although in our practice during the sounds, we did emphasize the letter Hamza just for the sake of demonstrating, right? But over here, we say in the Qur'an, you won't find Hamza being emphasized. So therefore, we don't have any sample for it. As a matter of fact, all the examples we have here comes from Juz Amma only. Therefore, when there is no an example from Juz Amma, I will leave it blank just to make sure that everything remains within Juz Amma. So therefore, we have over here, and in subsequent slides also you will see some spaces or some empty rows accordingly. All right. One last thing before we move on to the next slide is if you take a look at this table again, you will find that the focus is on Hamza. So over here, Hamza, in this row, we have Hamza, which comes as active, and it doesn't necessarily have to fulfill all the 3 statuses, but it can be any of the 3. So we have over here Alhaakumut Takathur. So the point here is the Hamza with Fatha, an active Hamza with single sound. And the next we have the point is to look for Hamza with double sound, and here we have Shay'in Shahid. And here it is to look for Hamza with silent sound, and here we have Fatatuna Afwaja. And here we have Utul Kitab, and the point is to look for Hamza with extended sound, and we have Utu, and then subsequent slides will also be likewise accordingly. In other words, if you just take any of these examples, you can apply as many of what we are doing here as possible. Look at Alhaakumut Takathur, for example. You can apply lam in the status of silence. You can apply al-ha, ha in the status of extended sound of fatha, ha kum. And then over here you have kaf in the status of activeness with dhamma, and also mim in the status of sukun when you stop on it, or dhamma when you link it, and so on and so forth. All right. So I will repeat this slide before we move on to the next, inshallah. So we have Alhaakumut Takathur. Wallahu ala kulli shay'in shahid. Fatatuna afwaja. أوتوا الكتاب. So moving on, we have ba, and here the next example will be وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى. The emphasis, so the highlight is on ba, b, bil-husna, but we must also articulate every single letter in here properly to the best of our best possible knowledge. وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى. تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب. Now we have over here, I have extended it 5 points. تبت يدا أبي لهب. We have explained this in the previous episode that when you have an extended letter that is followed by Hamza, usually, in fact, always in the Quran, you will see this wave form or wave symbol on top of the alif or on top of the ya or on top of the waw. If you find that, you are either expected to extend it for 5 points or for 6 points. Because one of the reasons is probably there is Hamza after it. So if there is Hamza after it, then you have to extend it to 5 points, as per the reference we are using in Juz Amma Practical Tajwid series. So now we have, let's take a look. We have over here extended letter, right, after Fatha, and then after it there is Hamza. So we are supposed to extend it for 5 points. That's why anywhere in the Quran you must say Tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tab. Although the point of highlight here is this ba with double sound. Moving on. كالفراش المبثوث وكذبوا بآياتنا كيف فعل ربك. So when we move on to ta, we have سوف تعلمون. So clearly the point of highlight is what? The ta with active sound ta. تعلمون. وجنات ألفافا. And here when we have double sound, which is over here tanween, double sound, so sometimes you may hear that the little noon or the silent noon as part of that double sound will usually be clearly pronounced or articulated. Sometimes it is hidden or emerged or merged with the letter that comes after it. That I have explained some in the previous episodes of the Juz Amma Practical Tajwid series, and in future series also, in future episodes, we will also explain the rest, inshallah ta'ala. But for the sake of this particular special episodes, I will only read how it is supposed to be read, but I won't explain the other tajweed rules, because this is just the fundamental needs you need in order to be able to dive into the real tajweed, where we will explain such stuff, inshallah ta'ala. So, وَجَنَّاتٍ أَلْفَافًا يَتْلُو صُحُفًا فَتَأْتُونَ أَفْوَاجًا حَتَّى زُرْتُمُ الْمَقَابِرِ. So if you pay attention, or maybe you listen with your earpieces, you will be able to differentiate that I'm here. I will say al-maqabir. I don't say al-maqabir, for instance. Just make sure that you are able to take note or pay attention or repeat it the way you hear it, so that later on when it's explained, it will make more sense, inshallah ta'ala. And moving on to tha, we have من ثقلت موازينه مثقال ذرة ومن شر النفاثات النجم الثاقب. Next we have Jim. من الجنة والناس. Just to remind that in the episode of Surah An-Nas, we have explained why we have to stress on the sound of an emphasized noon by saying Jinnah An-Nas. So you can refer to the episode of Surah An-Nas, and you will be good to go, inshallah ta'ala. And then we have the next will be Sirajan Wahhaja. Over here we have an example of good coincidence whereby we have Sirajan, the application of tanween, or rather the double sound in the middle of a phrase as well as at the end of a phrase. So Sirajan Wahhaja. All right. Alam naj'alil arda mihada. Here I would like to explain and apologize that this Hamza, the Hamza you can see below, is supposed to be on top of the Alif. I am not able to put it on top of the Alif, and the software I'm using is not doing me that justice. And although this is the best I am able to get so far, I'm using Mac for this. So this is what I can use at this point of time. So just take note that when this Hamza, we come across this type of Hamza, it may be below here, but it's supposed to be on top of the Alif. All right. Not in the middle, between this lam and the Alif, no, but on top of the Alif, right, directly. So, alam naj'alil arda mihada. إذا جاء نصر الله. Another example, we are extending this جاء نصر الله, we are extending it to 5 points. It doesn't matter whether the letter of extension or extension letter and the Hamza or the other reason why it must be extended. It doesn't matter whether they come in one word or different words. وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ فُجِّرَتْ. حَاء وَأَنْتَ حِلٌّ بِهَذَا الْبَلَدِ. Now you see a little meme here, and this meme you will usually come across it together with a double sound or a silent noon. So when you see any little meme attached to a sound symbol or attached to on top or it is put on top of a silent noon, usually you will definitely always you will see ba after it. There must be ba after it. So when you see that, you have to turn that little noon or the silent noon. Even in the double sound, there is also a silent noon. We explained that in the extended sounds or as well as in the sounds and statuses. So what we do here is to turn that noon, the silent noon, into mim. So we say wa anta hillum bihadhal balad. Next we have kadhan famulaqih. Yahsabu anna malah. وَإِذَا الْوُحُوشُ حُشِرَتْ. We have next خَاء فَدَخُلِي فِي عِبَادِي. هُمْ فِيهِ مُخْتَلِفُونَ. All right, so over here, if you take a look at when you say عِبَادِي, here we can only extend it to 2 points and no other option because there is no other letter after the letter of extension. And over here we have option to extend it. We have option of extending it 3 different ways. Why? Because there is a letter on which we stop with silence after the extension letter. All right. ناصية كاذبة خاطئة. علمت نفس ما قدمت وأخرت. Next, dal. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Now, the point here is the dal with active sound of kasra, D, dina. However, pay attention to the hamza to wasl. We said a linking hamza in connecting letters as well as in extension letters. I believe we did explain that this hamza to wasl is only it is only giving an active sound of kasra when it is at the beginning, and we have to start with it because we cannot start with silence in Arabic. Or sometimes it can have the active sound of fatha like alhamdu, and sometimes it can have the active sound of dhamma, uktub, for example. So here it is carrying the active sound of kasra, ihdina. As far as the Quran is concerned, you will need to verify with your Quran teacher to know which we apply kasra and which we apply dhamma and which we apply fatha. When you are in Arabic grammar class, then definitely there are rules you will learn to grasp that and remember that as always. But even in Tajwid lessons also, it will be explained to you accordingly. But here we cannot explain that because we are now trying to familiarize ourselves with the letter as well as their formation. In future, in our Juz Amma Practical Tajweed series, we will definitely cover it. So stay tuned and follow the episodes accordingly. حاسد إذا حسد وما أدراك فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت ما ودعك ربك ذال ورفعنا لك ذكرك يومئذ عن النعيم بإذن ربهم وإنه على ذلك لشهيد فما يكذبك بعد بالدين. Next we have Ra. جاء نصر الله. All right. Over here, something I need to highlight is Nasrullah. In many of the copies of the Quran we have, Allah, we need to extend the sound of the lam of Lafdul Jalala, Allah. There is supposed to be a little indication that shows that we must what? We must extend it. In some versions of the Quran from some countries, yes, there is a little alif of extension on top of this fatha here, Allah, put up like that. But in this version of the Quran we are using, it doesn't have, but one should know that we have to extend it. So we cannot say إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ, for example, or نَصْرُ اللَّهِ, for example. It must be نَصْرُ اللَّهِ, نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحِ. All right? Next, خَيْرٌ مِّنْ أَلْفِ شَهْرٍ أَلَمْ نَجْعَلِ الْأَرْضَ مِهَادًا وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ. Next, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا. And one of the good coincidences is that this particular letter has got three representations: Zul, Z, and then Z. All right? Inna lil muttaqina mafaza. The point for this particular example is to show how, to demonstrate the zai in the state of double sound, right? However, this double sound comes at the end of the word. So what do? We have to extend it to 2 points like this. Mafaza. If you link it, then you say inna lil muttaqina mafazan hadaiqa, or depending on what word comes after it. All right. وَوَضَعْنَا عَنْكَ وِزْرَكَ وَإِذَا مَرُّوا بِهِمْ يَتَغَامَزُونَ وَمَا يُدْرِيكَ لَعَلَّهُ يَزَّكَّى إِنَّ سَعْيَكُمْ لَشَتَّى. This is under sin. وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا لَا يَسْمَعُونَ فِيهَا. One may ask, why do we have this symbol of emphasis on this lam here? All right, this indicates, again, all the examples here come from Juz Amma. Therefore, I make sure that I put the wording the same way they are supposed to appear in the Qur'an if you pick it up. So, depending on the word that comes before this, if you link it, you must what? You must link. You must apply emphasis on this lam. All right. Inna lil muttaqina mafaza hadaiqa wa a'naba wa kawa'iba atraba wa ka'san dihaqa la yasma'una fiha. So wa ka'san dihaqa la. If you want to link it, this is what happens. And because of that, this symbol of emphasis is there on top of the lam. وَكَأْسًا دِهَاقًا لَا يَسْمَعُونَ فِيهَا. All right? فَقَالَ لَهُمْ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْيُسْرَى فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْيُسْرَى. شين إِنَّ سَعْيَكُمْ لَشَتَّى لإيلاف قريش والمشركين منفكين إن شانئك هو الأبتر والشمس وضحاها. صاد. We have ألم نشرح لك صدرك. إن يوم الفصل مخلصين له الدين وعملوا الصالحات. Moving on to ضاد, we have والعاديات ضبحا وعنبا وقضبا ولسوف يرضى ولا يحض على طعام المسكين. طاء. وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل والناشطات نشطا أطعمهم من جوع وطور سينين وإذا العشار عطلت. ظاء. أنقض ظهرك أنقض ظهرك ليوم عظيم. فأنذرتكم نارا تلظى. عين أنعمت عليهم فوقكم سبعا شدادا. كلا سيعلمون. ويمنعون الماعون فعال لما يريد. غين غير المغضوب. فإذا فرغت فانصب. فالمغيرات صبحا. Moving on. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح يتلو صحفا مطهرة يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فيها كتب قيمة ومن شر النفاثات في العقد. قاف ما ودعك ربك وما قلى. So you see in a previous example we say ما ودعك ربك because we had to stop there. But here we are not stopping. We must say ما ودعك ربك وما قلى. لتركبن طبقا عن طبق وخلقناكم أزواجا. ما القارعة وأذنت لربها وحقت. كاف إنا أعطيناك الكوثر ختامه مسك. So we are stopping on the kaf. That's why we cannot apply the double sound of the kaf here. We cannot say miskun unless we want to link it. Khitamuhu miskun wa fi. However, we are stopping on it, so we just say khitamuhu misk. Wa rafa'na laka dhikrak. Inna yawma al-fasli kana miqata. فك رقبة. لام كلا سوف تعلمون. مالا وعدده. علم اليقين. كيدهم في تضليل. تضليل. Please do not say تضليل. No. تضليل. فصل لربك وانحر. ميم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سلام هي حتى. فوسطن به جمعا. بأحكم الحاكمين. عما يتساءلون. نون ألم نشرح. بل هو قرآن مجيد من علق وما يغني عنه ماله إذا تردى. Okay, let's take a look at this over here. We have, you can see the extension letter, the little waw, all right? And because the waw there is little, a little one, the waveform or the wave symbol is also little equally. But because there is a hamza, we still have to extend it up to 5 points. Now, take a look at the one here. We have an extension letter, also a little one, with the waveform. But why is the waveform there? Just like we mentioned earlier, لا يسمعون فيها. Over here, we have over here, taradda. It's because the next word in the Qur'an, as far as this particular verse is concerned, the next word starts with hamza. Therefore, there must be an extension of 5 points based on the reference we are reading on here. So, وَمَا يُغْنِي عَنْهُ مَالُهُ إِذَا تَرَدَّى إِنَّ عَلَيْنَا. All right? So that's why this is there. أَلَا يَظُنُّ أُولَئِكَ أَنَّهُمْ مَبْعُوثُونَ. Of course, the point here is to highlight the emphasized noon. We have 1, we have 2. And in Surah An-Nas episode of the Juz Amma practical Tajwid series, we did explain that anywhere in the Qur'an you come across noon or mim with emphasis, you see this symbol of emphasis on top of them, you should stress on their sound up to 2 points, an estimated 2 points. So, أَلَا يَظُنُّ أُولَئِكَ أَنَّهُمْ مَبْعُوثُونَ. Why is it that way? It is explained over there, but what are the other rules? That will be explained at the right time, inshallah ta'ala. So please do stay tuned with the TVQ.Academy Juz Amma Practical Tajweed series, inshallah. Next we have Ha. هم فيه مختلفون وجوه يومئذ ناعمة كالعهن المنفوش وإنه على ذلك لشهيد صحفا مطهرة. Next we have واو ووضعنا عنك. We have come across this in the past, but that one we presented the full verse ووضعنا عنك وزرك. All right, but here we have to stop here, so we say عنك. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ وَالْجِبَالَ أَوْتَادًا وَخَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا إِنَّهُ كَانَ تَوَّابًا. Remember the little meme on top of this double sound of fatha? This meme is there because the next word that comes after it will be ba, and therefore there is the noon of this, the silent noon of this double sound must be turned into meme. What is this? Innahu kana tawwaba at the end of Surah An-Nasr. Innahu kana tawwaba, and the next verse that comes after in the next surah will be Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Tabbat yada, right? So we have Innahu kana tawwaban bismi. All right. Next we have Ya. فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ لِبَاسًا لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين.
أجمل بوفاء شيده وعفاف قل مشيده لا يخطو نحو مذممة شلت عن إجرام يده.
All right, with that we have come to the end of the application episode as part of the Arabic alphabet special episodes as part of the bigger series Juz Amma Practical Tajweed series brought to you by TVQ.Academy, your borderless school of the Qur'an. Now, a few things I would like to highlight before we end the episode is this is the foundation you need to start a structured tajweed. These Arabic alphabets, starting with recognizing the letters, starting with knowing the sounds, the proper sounds, and knowing that there are 4 primary sounds, and then there are some emphasized sounds, and knowing that there are some extended sounds, and thereafter knowing how the letters look when they are connected with one another, with other letters from different family, and then having the confidence to read a word when it stands alone, to read a word when it is combined with other words. This is what you need to start a structured tajweed. And once you master this, it may require some time from you. It may require that you practice, you follow one episode more than multiple times, you listen to it and follow and practice as many times as possible before you move on to the next. But rest assured, you will never regret that experience. And definitely anything we want success in, we will have to sacrifice something out of what we love, and that is time here. And the next thing will be, if you master the Arabic alphabet, you will start making sense of what you read in the Qur'an, or what you read in the Qur'an, whether it is in Juz Amma or in any part of the Qur'an, will start make sense to you. You will start making meaning from tajweed perspective. You will start knowing why you are saying what you say, why you utter what you utter in what you read, why you articulate what you articulate based on what you have in the text, if you master this, inshallah ta'ala. And I still need to emphasize that you need a teacher to help you. As far as the Quran is concerned, mashallah, tabarakallah, there are endless, unlimited number of teachers who are ready to help. All you have to do is to look around, ask, and never be shy nor afraid to seek for help. Whether it is offline, whether it is online, there are unlimited number of people who are capable of teaching Quran. Just reach out and seek for help. Inshallah, Allah will guide you to the right teacher to help you, inshallah ta'ala. Also, there are materials which you can download from the link I will be provided in the description below. Print it out and make use of it. And if you want more than that, you may want to join our TVQ.Academy community, and you will have access, free access to all our learning materials which are available, existing ones, as well as what we will be producing in the future, inshallah ta'ala. You will have free access to them. All you have to do is to join the community. And if you decide to join our class, then that's another story altogether. And together we fall in love with the Quran, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. With that, we have come to the end of this special episodes as part of the Juz Amma Practical Tajweed series. Inshallah, the next episode will be the resume of the Juz Amma Practical Tajweed series continuation. In fact, it never stopped, because this is also part of it. But then again, the style has been different, because this is what we were supposed to have done perhaps at the beginning of everything. But alhamdulillah, we have had the inspiration in the middle of the whole thing to do this now, and thereafter to proceed, inshallah ta'ala. Until we meet in the next episode, please continue reading the Quran, and I leave you in Allah's protection. Wassalamu alaikum.
هذا الوهاب سيكرمه وبرحمته يتغمده ويذيع الله له ذكرا وإلى الآباد يخلده. هذا مني وأنا منه، وفضائله ستسوده. طابت في الدنيا عيشته، وعوالي الجنة موعده. طابت في الدنيا عيشته، وعوالي الجنة موعده.